Hey, Clan Nation, Mike Campion here with Jackson Pinkoski, as he is known and loved. He is our marketing rock star here on our team. Today, we are going to talk about the difference between $100,000 a year versus $100,000 a month marketing for cleaning companies. So I wanted to set the stage, if I may, by talking about the things that precede the marketing. So I'm going to spend like 2 or 3 minutes there, and then Jackson and I'll kind of have a conversation on what needs to happen or the differences between guys and gals doing $100,000 a month and what their marketing program looks like, and guys and gals doing $100,000 a year that want to get there. So first and foremost, we got to make sure the money's there. Like it's, a lot of people that want to focus on marketing. It's shiny, it's sexy, it's fun. There's 1,000 people marketing to us about if you do Facebook ads or this or that, but their numbers aren't tight, right? Oftentimes they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. They are not as profitable as they should be, right? Maybe they're doing, $200,000 a year, and they're making $30,000 a month or $30,000 in profit a year, but they're working 60 hours a week. And like, if I just double my company, if I just get the marketing, then everything will be great. But that's not the reality. The reality is get profitable first, so then you have money for, and a lot of times because they're in such an unprofitable situation, they can't afford marketing not to pay right away. And good scalable marketing that's durable often doesn't work right away. Like it's not a deal where you just fax over your order for, I need 20 clients, here's $2,000, wada bing, wada bang. Like it takes testing, and it takes the ability to take that information and make tweaks and go further. So first and foremost, you got to make sure you're financially ready to roll. We coach to a 30% net profit without the owner being like in the business 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I wouldn't even consider messing with marketing until I was at least 20%, right? Just because you got to have some room to see how stuff goes. Second, should go without saying, but I've done it without saying and people don't get it. So it's going to go with saying, you got to be able to handle the work, right? A lot of times people, I'll be on a conversation with them. I'll think their biggest problem is marketing. And I'll say, okay, if I doubled your company tomorrow, could you handle the work? Like, oh my God, no, it'd break us. So it's like, okay. So, and they just kind of want to think if they ignore it, it'll go away. It won't. So before we even talk about going from $100,000 a year's marketing plan to $100,000 a month marketing plan, make sure you're making profit. You know why you're making profit. You've got a hiring system that doesn't just work now, but would work at double the revenue, and that you're not just barely getting by. You have more than enough people. You love the people. If someone that was good stops being good, you've got people behind them. Like you've got real financial systems and real ability to deliver. So when the marketing does kick butt, or if it doesn't kick butt, you've got a minute to figure it out. And when it does kick butt and you do figure it out, you don't just ruin all your efforts by getting a bunch of bad reviews and poor service and then stressing yourself out. So that is kind of the big fat spoiler alert I wanted to give on that side. But now that we said that, Jackson, for those of you guys that don't know, he does the bulk of the, we probably share, but he's probably 80% of the marketing coaching in for our clients. And I might do 20%. So Jackson, you've worked with guys doing all ranges and lots of different industries, not just cleaning. What have you found the big difference when it comes to marketing is for guys doing $100,000 a year versus $100,000 a month when it comes to marketing, assuming they've got the financials and the hiring stuff kind of locked down a bit?
Yeah. I mean, generally, I get asked this question like every week. It's like, what more do I need to be doing, or what else can I be doing, or what do I need to be, what other channels, what other shiny objects? But really, the biggest difference is, I would say, like scale. Really is the big thing between 100,000 a year and 100,000 a month. Because obviously if you're doing 100,000 a month, it requires a lot more volume for your business. And this is understanding that everything else is in line, all your other ducks in a row, because that's a huge, as you grow bigger and as you start to make more money, this goes for all businesses. If the back end of your business isn't in order, the marketing's not going to save you. Right. I have a lot of conversations with people. They're like, oh, I want to get to this revenue number. And it's like, okay, well, what's your average customer value? And they're like, oh, I charge $100 a cleaning. I'm like, you know how hard it's going to be for your marketing to do anything at like that kind of price point, right? Because if you want to get to $100,000 a month at $100 a person, average clean, what's the math on that? I'm terrible at math, Mike.
Oh my gosh.
That's 1,000 customers. Like even, I don't even think like a super cleaning company could have 1,000 customers in a month. Like that would be ridiculous. That's a lot of work.
And just for some scale, by the way, if you're doing $400 a month average, like every other week recurring clients, because I'm guessing Jackson's kind of talking more ad hoc. And, I get it. Maybe it's like, no, I do move in, move out cleans and they're $400. Like, okay, you still need 300, you need 300 clients like a month, right? It really gets to be not a year, a month. Just to give you some scale, if you're doing $400 a month, which average in the United States, obviously there's some higher and some lowers, but that's about average client value. We're recording this May 2025. You only need about 300 clients, like 250 clients period for the whole year. That's it. So yeah, having the foundation of who you're selling to makes a huge difference. Sorry, I didn't mean to get in. I just don't want you to get stuck with the number. So
no, that's right. I use 100 because it's easy. My brain, easy for my small monkey brain.
Even if it's 1,000, you still, which very few people are doing consistent $1,000 cleaning, it's still 1,000 clients over a year, which is like 100 a month if it's one time, right? And most of you are like, well, I'm not doing $1,000 cleans. I'm like, I know. So now it's like 2,000. The numbers just get ridiculous. And that's assuming that's not just a cleaning. Like, well, who's going to answer the phone when it rings? That's not, if you need 1,000 people at $1,000, we'll say you're doing $500 cleans and you need 2,000 people. That's not 2,000 phone calls over the year. That's 6,000 because everyone doesn't say yes. And then who's going to do the bid? And then who's going to collect the money? Like, it's not just the cleaning. Like, all of your systems need to go up. And if they're not recurring clients, it's like, and then we just start again. Or God forbid, we've got this big infrastructure to handle 200 clients a month. And then this month, something goes bad. Our LSAs get turned off or whatever. Now we're down to 50 this month. Now what? Like, it's just, there's so much rife with possibility if you're marketing to the wrong person. And I would define in this conversation, the wrong person being either one-time cleans, post-construction cleanup, even though those could be bigger, they're still riskier, or even kind of like lower income, $200 a month cleans where they're like once a month in a condo or, kind of the fringe folk. Sorry, I keep jumping in on you. Just
No, that's perfect because that's genuinely like the biggest difference between 100,000 a year and 100,000 a month. People is understanding that, because ultimately, when it boils down to it, the channels are going to say the same. The action items, the ads they're running, the type of marketing, the language, the door hangers, local events, things of that nature, it all stays the same. But the person who is able to run at $100,000 a month understands who they're going after. They're understanding, I can spend $5,000 plus in my marketing for this month and hit my goals, hit the numbers I need to know. I know how many leads I need to get. I know I can turn it up and turn it down. Versus $100,000 a year, they're all over the place. They don't understand the roller coaster of what's going on. They struggle with every shiny object that's going on, and they really struggle if something isn't going right at a time, which happens. Ads are a roller coaster. Marketing's a roller coaster. Your Facebook ads could be doing really well, and then they could take a dump the next day or the next month. And those people tend to kind of implode or give up, think it's never going to be good again, and don't understand the bigger picture, or don't see the bigger picture of things in the grand scheme of everything. And that really makes a big difference. It's a combination of obviously having the right systems in place and having the proper mindset of how to approach it, and understand that it takes time, but you do get into a flow. It doesn't happen overnight, but you do get into a flow where the people who are constantly making 5-6 figures per month, they don't change up their marketing all that much. They really don't. They will change it based on seasons, or maybe implement a new offer here or there, or turn it up when they have more employees, or turn it down when they need to hire more people. But the marketing, the messaging kind of stays the same. Versus on the other hand, people who are struggling or trying to scale up, they are trying to constantly reinvent the wheel, and it's a detriment to them and to the growth as a whole.
Yeah, let's dive into that, or double click on that because you're 100% right, Jackson.
Double click on that.
Yeah, I'm getting. Does that sound like an old man thing? Sorry, I don't know what.
Let's open up the yellow pages to that.
Yeah, I don't know what you kids are saying nowadays. Jackson and I share the exact same birthday, except for the year, as you might guess. He's got. I was probably. I'd have to check. I think. No, I didn't have my son that time, but I was definitely graduated high school when Jackson was born.
95.
I graduated in 92, my man.
Oh, so you were graduated?
I did graduate high school, but I didn't have my son. He was born in like 99. So I was right in that pre-kid, but post graduating high school. Still knucklehead, but with a high school diploma knucklehead. So I'm leaning in. Let's double click into that, people. That's right. I'm going again. You can't mock me out of my stupid old man saying I'm sticking with him. So as we dive in, the big thing, Jackson saying it did a great job articulating the problem. I want to give a couple of what I see as the solution. Then Jackson, you can tell me what your take is. There's two pieces of it. One is initially is the skill side, right? You got to make sure you've got a decent offer. You know who you're speaking to, right? If you don't know who the right client is or the right client to hit your goals is, you're really going to struggle no matter how good you are at marketing. If you're good at attracting the wrong fish, it's not going to work. So just like we talked about, you got to have that down. Then you have to have an offer that's appealing, right? And by the way, 20% off your first clean isn't appealing, right? Be creative. Like just look at how many things you've saw 20% off your mattress and you're like, oh, I'll take that. Right. If it's, 100 days to test this mattress. If it's not the best sleep you've had, we'll come pick it up for you and give you back all your money. Like, well, hold on now. So you've got to have an offer that's appealing. You have to know who your person is. You have to know what offer is appealing to them. And then you just have to know where they go to solve it or where they go to get it. So let's assume you've got those things in place. So if you don't, everything we say after this isn't if you don't have the finances, the ability to hire, know who you're talking to and have an offer that's appealing, nothing after I say after this is going to help. If you've got those basic building blocks in place, it really is a mental thing in terms of, just like Jackson said, it's super common for Facebook. I'm just picking any of it. It could be fill in the blank with local service ads, Facebook, door hangers, B&I groups like radio ads, billboards, fill in the blank, to work really well. I mean, what we would consider good, and Jackson, correct me because you have this data more readily than I do, but it really does a pretty decent job 6 months out of the year. 3 months out of the year, it just crushes, and 3 months out of the year, it just stinks. And that's a good advertising lead. That's a good lead source, right? That's not a bad one. So 9 months out of the year, it's either good or really good, but those 3 months, 3 months is a long time, right? We're just like, it's never going to work. It's this, it's that, whatever. So the emotions kill good marketing plans quicker than anything. So the two inoculations I'll give you, and then Jackson, you probably got more, is a combination of data and more lead sources. So if you're just doing local service ads, most people start with repeat referral, which is good, really good. It's a great lead source, but it's not scalable. It's not repeatable. It's not dependable. It's not something, depending on what your goals are, if you're looking for 10, 20, it's not something that's going to get you to 6 figures a month, certainly in residential. And unless you're just a really good salesperson and just love being out and meeting people, it's probably not going to get you there in commercial either. So you add one, most of the time people go with like local service ads or something like that. And those can be good, but same thing. They're better in some markets than others. They are better in some months than others. As most advertising things do, tend to get more expensive. They're better a year ago than they are today, and they're better today than they will be in a year. But in a year, God willing, another thing will come. So more lead sources that you're testing is huge. So when you've got 3 or 4 things going, it's unlikely all 4 of those things are going to have the bad month the same month. Possible, but really unlikely. When you have 1 lead source or 2 lead sources, it's quite likely 1 or 2 months a year, 1 or both of them are going to go down. So more lead sources is huge, and data, cost per lead, cost per bid, cost per sale, first month ROI is my favorite stat. A lot of times I'll literally have people come to me like, I spent $3,000 on this ad and it was terrible. And we look at it and it's like, you got 3 clients at $400 each. That's $1,200. Which isn't great. We shoot for 100% ROI, right? If you spend $3,000, we want 3,000 in recurring customers, so they say 24 months, you get a 24 to 1, kind of revenue return on your investment. But even if you only get a third, right? You spend $3,000, you only get $1,000 with new clients. If they stay 24 months, you still get a 7 to 1 return on your, and I know there's expenses off of that, but still. So the data will help you modulate, right? When you have a bad month, you can recognize more data sources, more lead sources will help you modulate when you have a bad month, and a lead sources and kill everything. And data will help you go. The emotions can say all these leads suck, but what really happens is maybe we do local service ads, and if we don't want one-time customers, maybe we spend $1,000 and we get 30 leads, and 25 of them are one time, or they stink, or they're losers, or whatever. But of the 5 ones, you get two accounts, and they're $400 each. We got $800 a month of recurring revenue. It costs us $1,000. It's not the end of the world. Like that's a good little thing we got going there. But because the emotion is, I talked to 25 people who stunk, it feels like they all stink. So we have to have the data before we can start really doing math. So those are the two big inoculators. So one of the big, what I'm hearing Jackson say is, once you get all the building blocks in place, emotions giving up right before, just letting your emotions ruin you, and like shiny new thing. I thought LSAs were good. No, it's like, I'm going to try this, and just churning and churning. So because the least profitable part's the beginning, when you're buying data and information. If you never take that information and turn it into action and then get something profitable, you can just churn forever. And then you say crazy things like marketing doesn't work. And again, the big inoculations for that are data and more lead sources, not testing all the time, right? Once we've got 2 or 3 working, then we test 1 or 2, right? A lot of people want to test 5 every month and never stick with anything, as opposed to, I've got 2 or 3 that are working. I'm going to test 2 or 3 and hope I can get 1 or 2 of those to stick. So that's kind of my old man boring perspective. Jackson, what say you?
Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk.
I don't disagree with any of that. It's kind of like honestly, we kind of sound like that joke when people talk about gambling. It's like every gambler quit before they hit big, kind of thing. Yeah. Marketing is a little bit of a gamble sometimes, but I can say with like 99% certainty, you can do some form of marketing and your business will grow in one way, shape, or form on a channel of sorts. So in essence, it's not necessarily gambling. Yeah, like Mike said, the beginning is the scariest part. Is doing this. Is actually spending the money, because more often than not, you will spend more money than you will make in your first 30 days, and that's a given. Even if you hit 100% ROI, like we coach and we want people to, you still have expenses and whatnot in that first month. So getting beyond that and realizing that it's not a failure that first month, because you are making more money month 2, month 3, month 4, 5, and so on and so forth. That's a huge aspect of it.
And I want to encourage you guys and gals, the clients that we have, I don't know, you please correct me if I'm wrong, Jackson, feels like maybe 30-40% have a positive first month ROI in their first month, and probably 70-80% have a positive first month ROI in their second month. And I doubt it's 100, but probably in the 90s or, more than 90% have a positive. And if they don't, it's probably because they're not listening to something we told them to do. But I could be so arrogant.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Jackson and I internally, for the stuff that we market for our clients, have ever had 3 months. I don't think we were at 2 months either way, but it might have taken 1 or 2 or 3 months when we first started before we knew what was going on. So, and again, we're really good at this. This is what we do all day, every day. So if even the people that we help that are paying us, that we're really good, we've got, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on behalf of our client, maybe millions, I don't know. And it takes a month or two. If you're trying to figure this out on your own, you give up after a month or two. It's like, holy heck, what, that's just an unreasonable expectation to set on yourself. So yeah, I think Jackson really said it well. We jump from thing to thing, and that's not ideal, but as long as you're taking the data and getting, like, again, if we test 2 or 3 lead sources and we get 1 or 2 that we can, like 6, 7, 8 months, 9 months out of the year, get a positive first month ROI on, we're really building equity in our company, right? If you go to sell a company and you're like, we did 200 grand this year and 300 grand, or 300 grand, 200 grand last year and 300 grand this year, and we think we're gonna do 400 grand this year. And they're like, cool, how'd you do it? You're like, word of mouth or whatever. I don't know. That's got some value. But if you say the exact same numbers and you're like, here's the lead sources, here's what we spend. If we doubled here, here's how it would go. If you want it, like, and you have that clear path, that's going to get a whole different price, right? But not only do our emotions tell us at the beginning we spend money that we oftentimes don't even track, so we don't know if it's positive or negative ROI, but we feel it's negative ROI, and sometimes it actually is negative ROI. Instead of taking that data and tweaking and going again, we go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And the kooky thing is, just because we're entrepreneurs and we get paid for trying the new thing and taking a risk, sometimes in an outsized way, even when things are working, we get bored with it and test new stuff, which is fine. You can test it, but we turn off the thing that's working. So my last thing, and I'm going to let Jackson finish how he sees fit, is 6-figure-a-year marketers turn off crap that's working and constantly are looking for the new thing. 7-figure-a-year marketers have multiple lead sources that have been working, and they're boring and they don't do anything, and they kind of go up and down, and they don't always create a 500% first month ROI. Sometimes it's just a 150%, but some months it's 200 and some months it's 80, and they just pour money into it, and it's super boring. And people looking at it go, that's all you do? You don't even have SEO or a fancy website or blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no, I just got these 3 things I do over and over again, like a goddamn ATM, and it's super boring, and people judge. So that would probably be the biggest, if I had to pick one, once all the foundational blocks we talked about are in place. 7-figure-a-year marketers are boring, and they test less stuff, and they do it very pragmatically, and it has no sex appeal. 6-figure-a-year marketers test everything, and they have tons of fun. Just like, I'm not a professional gambler, don't know much, but I'm guessing their life isn't in the movies. It's a lot of sitting at a dark table with a bunch of smoke, grinding it out for months and years at a time. Whereas, the rest of us who, if you gamble, lose money, it's because you go in and you try the fun thing and you lose money. Like, I'm moving on. All right, there's my, that's my summary. Jackson, anything to add? Big takeaway or big difference between 6-figure cleaning company marketing versus 7?
Yeah. Just to kind of put it in perspective, we have a 6-figure-a-month person I work with, been working with since September of last year, I think. Maybe even before that. But basically, she's had the same messaging going since December. And on average, it's 90 to 140% first month ROI off that messaging, off that channel.
Which means if she spends $1,000, she gets somewhere between $900 and $1,400 in recurring revenue.
Yes. Yeah. Just constantly. And like on a dime. And it's just been constantly spending a little bit more each and every month since then. And it's still the same process. And it's, she understands it. I look at the data. I understand it. It's good. Versus on the other hand, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that spent $15 on ads.
$50.
No, 15.
15. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow the budget. No, $15.
15. And their millions got 2 leads and was screaming at me that nothing was working. It's like, okay,
$7 leads. Goodness.
Yeah, it's first of all, $7 leads is great. Great.
The right answer is, how can we spend $1,500 and get 70 leads?
Yeah, please. I want more. But key. I don't just pull these numbers out of my behind. Mike doesn't just pull this stuff. Like I have these interactions with people multiple times a day, twice a week on calls, 3 times a year in person. And I don't even know how to say it any more explicitly. Every single time people that get to 6 figures a month, they follow the same curve. They follow the same process. They start the working, and within 1 to 2 months, they have the same repeatable processes that they can turn up over and over and over again, turn down when they know, especially after a year. If like for example, March, April was really slow for some channels. Lead costs went up. people who have been doing this understood that and knew, let me turn down here, let me go back heavier on door hangers or something else. And then now May, June, those channels are back because summertime is here. So we've turned those back up. But I can't say any more explicitly. I know you can get to that point. If you need the help, like come find a Jackson 2.0, come find a Mike 2.0, or come find us. Come find us anyway.
If you need some help, double click on this podcast.
Yes, double click on my face somewhere. Yeah, but I know it can be done. That's my tangent, my little rant there.
I'll leave you guys with something that hopefully will be encouraging. Not only the coaching calls we do, but coaching calls I've been in where, we seen guys spending $100,000 a month on marketing, not making $100,000, spending $100,000 on marketing, like eight, 9-figure businesses. I've gotten to be in those meetings, and same with our meetings. They're a lot more boring than you would think. You would think it's, Jackson just is
boring
because the devil's in the details. And when you're spending $15 and getting $7 leads, you can be very laissez-faire and it'll all be fine. But as you scale up, leads get a little more expensive and you have to be a little more meticulous. So really, really, truly boring is the word. If you think $100,000 a month is sexy, to be okay doing the boring work of where it's a lot of data and it's a lot of what worked and it's a lot of let's take out the emotion and let's just ruthlessly test. So hopefully that was helpful. As always, if this is something that y'all need help with, please reach out. We love helping owners of cleaning companies. Just so you know, our process is you can reach out. We have a team of coaches that'll jump on a call with you. I'd assess where you're at, where you want to be, help you come up with a plan. If that plan works and you don't need us at all, consider it free coaching. We love you. If a lot of times people are like, if there's a great plan, I'd like some help. We can talk about that too, but never any pressure. Either way, if that system doesn't work for you, please, please, please don't keep doing the same thing, hoping for a different result. Do something different, get some help, change what you're doing. And if you've got the right beliefs and the right coaching, the right, not even market, just really beliefs in coaching and are willing to do what people that are more successful do. There's no reason you can't have a $100,000 a month cleaning company. It's a great industry. And the marketing is actually, I've been in lots, and the marketing is a lot easier in the cleaning industry than some of the others. So enjoy. All right, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. Reach out anytime. Talk soon. See you.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it, and we sure appreciate your time and attention.